Is there a person that every time you're around them, something shifts? You can feel it. You're more aware of yourself and more aware of them. Maybe you choose your words a little more carefully and you leave the conversation and replay it. And then comes the question that lives rentre in your head. Do they feel this too, or am I imagining it? That question is one of the most disorienting things a human being can experience because you can feel something so clearly, so physically and undeniably, and still have absolutely no certainty about whether it's landing with that other person. And this is where so many missed opportunities have happened. I know because I've heard this from my old coaching clients a lot. They say, looking back, I can see it now so clearly. And here's what makes it worse. Most of the advice out there tells you to look for one sign, one green light, and you go looking for it. And you either convince yourself it's there when it isn't, or you miss the real signals entirely because no one ever told you what they actually look like. Today, we're going to fix that because mutual attraction, the real kind where both of you are really in it, shows up in your body before your brain catches up. It moves through a conversation in a very specific way, and it leaves a very specific pattern. And once you know what that pattern looks like, you can stop second guessing yourself and start seeing what's actually in front of you. I'm going to give you 15 signs that the attraction is mutual, even when neither of you has said a word about it. Let's go. Before we get into the signs, there's something that I want to say because if you skip this part, then none of the 15 will make sense. Mutual attraction is not one signal, it's a pattern. It's a cluster of behaviors that shows up consistently from both people across multiple moments. You're not looking for proof in a single glance or a single text. You're looking for a rhythm that goes in both directions because one sided attraction can mimic almost anything in isolation. A warm laugh, a long look, an enthusiastic reply. Those things can come from politeness or from good social skills and from someone who's simply a good, kind person. What those things cannot mimic, what politeness and social skill cannot produce, is a self sustaining, bidirectional pattern of behavior that neither person is consciously controlling. That is what mutual attraction looks like. And that is what you're learning to read today. Sign one, both of you keep finding reasons not to leave. The conversation should have ended 10 minutes ago. You've both got somewhere to be. You both know it, but neither of you is the one to end it. Someone says something, the other one responds. A new thread opens, and somehow you're still standing there, still talking, still finding one more thing to say. Pay attention who's initiating those extensions. If it's only you, if you're always the ones finding the next thing to say to keep the conversation going, that's not mutual attraction. That's you carrying something alone. But when it's both of you, when you're both the one saying, oh, one more thing, when neither of you is making a move to leave, that is two nervous systems that do not want the connection to end. And your nervous system doesn't lie. Sign two. The mirroring happens without either of you noticing. Their coffee cup goes down. Yours follows 30 seconds later. You shift in your seat and they shift too. You lean forward, they lean forward. You lower your voice, their voice drops to match it. This is called behavioral synchrony. And the research on this is pretty remarkable. Studies on nonverbal communication, including foundational work in embodied cognition, show that when two people feel a genuine pull towards each other, their bodies begin to physically mirror without any conscious decision to do so. The rhythm of their speech, their posture, their gestures, they all start to align. And you can't fake this. You can try to deliberately mirror someone, and it will probably look a little strange. When it's real, it's seamless. It's both people's nervous system responding to the same signal that I want to be in the same physical space as this person. When you see it happening in both directions, not one person following the other's lead, but both of you moving in sync. You're watching mutual attraction happen in real time. Sign three, eye contact has a rhythm, not just the duration. Most people think the sign is long eye contact. It's not. Sustained, unbroken staring that reads as intensity, not attraction. What you're actually looking for is something more subtle and it's far more revealing. When attraction is mutual, eye contact has a rhythm. They hold it, you hold it, one of you looks away and then comes back, and then the other one does the same thing. It's almost like a second conversation that's happening underneath the actual conversation. The neuroscience here is really clear. Eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone in both people at the same time. When attraction's mutual, both people are unconsciously seeking out more of that contact because their brains are rewarding them for it. They keep coming back. And here's the tell. In a one sided dynamic, one person holds the gaze and the other person breaks it and doesn't return. The rhythm is missing because only one brain is seeking it. Mutual attraction has that rhythm. One sided attraction has a gap. You'll feel the difference even before you can name it. Sign 4, they remember the things you said and they bring them back. So you mentioned something in passing, a detail, something small, and later in a different conversation, maybe even days later, they bring it back. Didn't you used to say you live near there? Or how did that thing go with your sister? This isn't just good manners, this is something else entirely. When we're drawn to another person, our brains encode what they say differently. We're not just processing their words, we're storing them, we're filing them, and we're holding on to them. Research in the psychology of intimacy, including Harry Reese's work on responsiveness, shows that the feeling of being genuinely seen, of someone remembering what you said and caring about the follow up, is one of the most powerful drivers of real connection. But here's what makes it a sign of mutual attraction specifically: it has to go both ways. If they remember your details, but you can't recall much of what they've shared, or vice versa, that's an imbalance, not a match. Mutual attraction makes both people pay attention. Both people remember because both brains have assigned this person's importance. Sign 5, silences don't feel awkward. Silence between two people who aren't connected, it can be uncomfortable. You both know it and you both scramble to feel it. But something different happens when attraction is mutual. The silences, even the brief ones, they feel easy, companionable, like you don't need to be performing for each other every second. This is a sign of something real and it matters more than most people realize. Comfortable silence requires a baseline level of safety between two people. It means that your nervous systems are not in a state of alert around each other. They're not bracing. So, if you're both okay sitting in the quiet and neither of you are rushing to fill every gap with some noise, that's two people whose bodies are saying, I don't need to impress this person. I just want to be near them. And that feeling of ease underneath the attraction, that's not something that shows up in the early stages unless something is genuinely happening. Sign 6. They find small excuses to close the distance so they don't dramatically cross the room to stand next to you. It's much subtler than that. It might be something like they shift slightly closer when you're talking, or they lean in to hear something even when the room isn't that loud. It could be they hand you something directly instead of just putting it down. Maybe they're near you in a group when they could easily be somewhere else in the space. Proximity seeking is one of the most primal signs of attraction. And when it's mutual, both people are doing it without making much of a scene about it. You're both just gravitating. Neither of you announce that you're going to do it. You just keep ending up close to each other. Pay attention who's doing the gravitating. If you're always the one who ends up near them, if you're always the one closing the gap, that is one directional. But if you notice that they're near you, even when you weren't the one to close the distance, then that's intentional, even when it looks casual. Sign 7, teasing that has warmth to it. So, light teasing, the kind that makes you feel seen rather than targeted. It's a sign of two things: comfort and investment. You don't tease someone that you're indifferent to, you just don't bother. Teasing requires that you've paid enough attention to notice something playful about the other person. It's a form of intimacy disguised as humor. When attraction's mutual, the teasing flows in both directions, and it has a specific quality. It doesn't sting. It just makes you feel like the other person's been paying very close attention and they're letting you know it, and they let you know in a way that keeps things light and you find yourself doing it back. It's effortless and you're not overthinking about where it'll land. It's just that easy bidirectional warmth that is good chemistry. It's both of you signaling, I'm paying attention. I feel safe enough to play, and I want you to know that I see you. Sign 8. You both get slightly better versions of yourself. You're funnier when they're around, more articulate. You tell the story better. You laugh more openly. And when you watch them, you notice it in them too. They're brighter somehow, more present, more themselves, but just turned up a little. It's not coincidence and it's not your imagination. Research on the psychology of attraction, including the work by Arthur Aaron on the concept of self-expansion, shows that when we're drawn to another person, we feel our sense of self expand in their presence. We feel more capable, more interesting, more alive. And when that's mutual, both people get this effect from each other simultaneously. You're both becoming slightly more of who you actually are because the other person's making it feel safe and worthwhile to show up that way. So if you notice that both of you seem to come alive around each other in a way that doesn't happen around every other conversation, that's data. That's your nervous system responding to each other. Sign 9, their body points at you even when they're talking to someone else. This is one of the most overlooked and one of the most reliable signs. You're in a group. You're talking to someone across from them, but their feet, their torso, and their shoulders, they're all turned towards you. It's not a dramatic move. It's not obvious, but you're in their physical orbit, even when the conversation isn't with you. The body points where the brain wants to be. It's that simple and that honest. We orient ourselves unconsciously towards the things and people that matter to us. It happens below the level of conscious control, which is exactly what makes it so readable when you know what to look for. If their body consistently orients towards you, whether it's in a group, across a room, even mid-con conversation with someone else, that's not random. That's attraction leaving a breadcrumb trail for anyone paying close enough attention to follow it. Sign 10. There's something different about how they say, your name. I know this sounds almost too subtle to be real. Just bear with me. When someone's genuinely attracted to you, the way they use your name changes. They use it more than they need to. They use it at the beginning of a sentence when they don't have to. And there's like a quality to it, a small, almost imperceptible pause before it and after it. Like your name has a weight in their mouth in a way that other names don't. Psychologically, using someone's name is a form of acknowledgement. It's saying you specifically, not just a person I'm talking to. And when attraction's mutual, both of you tend to reach for the other person's name more than the situation actually requires. You might not have consciously noticed this happening, but go back, think about the last conversation. Did they use your name more than once when once probably would have been enough? And did you find yourself doing the same? When the answer is yes for both of you, that is not nothing. Sign 11. You both get slightly nervous at the same moments. Real mutual attraction produces what I describe as nervous calm. This is one of the most accurate signs you'll learn to read, so stay with me on this. When attraction is one-sided, the person who feels it is activated, but they're not settled. They're nervous, but they're not anchored. There's like an effortfulness to it, a slightly hollow, strained quality because they're generating all the energy themselves and nothing's coming back to steady them. When attraction's mutual, something different happens. The nerves are still there because something that matters is happening, but underneath the nerves, there's a specific settling quality. So your breath is a little slower, your voice drops slightly, your shoulders come down, and the other person's presence is doing something to your nervous system. It's regulating it even as it's also activating it. A Berkeley researcher wrote about this extensively. How genuine emotional resonance between two people creates a physiological effect that feels simultaneously exciting and calming. And when both people have it, the conversation has this quality of ease and energy at the same time. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel effortful. It feels like being inside something that's just carrying itself. When you're both slightly nervous, both somehow at ease simultaneously, it's not a contradiction. That's mutual attraction. Sign 12. The follow-up comes without prompting. You talked 2 days ago. There was no hanging thread, no question left unanswered, and yet a message. There's a voice note or an article they thought you'd find interesting or a reference to something that you mentioned in passing. It's sent to you with no clear reason except that they thought of you. Unprompted contact is one of the cleanest signals there is because it requires something that is very hard to manufacture. Genuine motivation. I don't reach out for no reason to someone that you're feeling indifferent to. You do it because they stayed in your head, because your brain has filed them under important and now it's looking for reasons to reconnect. But here's the key. It has to be reciprocal. If you're always the one reaching out and they're always the one responding warmly, that's not mutual attraction. That is one person pursuing and the other person just being pleasant about it. Mutual attraction generates contact from both directions, and neither person has to feel like they're making all the moves. Sign 13. They reference the future with you in it. We should go there sometime. You love this place. We'll have to check it out. Next time we do this, these are small sentences. They're almost throwaway, but they're not throwaway at all. When someone references a future that casually includes you without framing it as a formal plan, without making too big a deal of it, they're actually revealing something that their brain is already doing. They're already thinking about you in future contexts. They're already placing you in their life going forward. And when you find yourself doing the same thing back, when future references flow naturally in both directions, that's two people whose brains have already started building something, not consciously or strategically, just automatically. The way that brains do when they've decided someone matters. Sign 14. There's a specific energy when you're in the same room as other people. Put you both in a group, and a different kind of signal starts to appear. You're aware of exactly where they are in the room without even looking for them. You find each other's eyes across the space during something funny and you share it. In a group conversation, something that they say gets more of your attention than what anyone else is saying. And you can see if you look that they register it when you respond to it. This is called relational attunement. It's a heightened awareness of the other person that operates like a background channel running underneath everything else. When it's mutual, you're both running it, and neither of you decided to. It just happens. And here's what makes this one particularly revealing. It's very hard to fake it in a group setting. You can perform attraction one-on-one, but in a group, the background channel is really hard to control because you're also managing other conversations, other people, and other demands. The signals that come through in a group setting are the ones that your nervous system is producing automatically. And they're some of the most honest signals that you'll ever read. Sign 15, something shifts right before you part ways. The goodbye is longer than it should be. There's a moment right at the end where something in the energy just changes. It gets slightly more intentional. The conversation slows down just before it ends. Someone says something, and there's a beat where both of you hold it just for a second before you actually leave. This is the most instinctual of all the signs, and it's also one of the hardest ones to fake. It comes from the part of the human nervous system that doesn't want to lose connection with someone that it's bonded to. Your brain doesn't want this to end. And if theirs doesn't either, you'll feel it in the quality of their goodbye. Even if nothing dramatic is said, even if the words themselves are completely ordinary, both of you linger. Both of you turn back. Both of you take maybe just a little bit longer than the situation requires because your nervous systems are doing what they do when they found something real and they don't want to let it go yet. So here's what I want you to do with all of this. Stop looking for one big sign. Stop replaying single moments, hoping to extract certainty from just one of them. One long look doesn't mean anything on its own. One warm text doesn't mean anything on its own. And one lingering goodbye doesn't mean anything on its own. What means something is the pattern. All of these signs, or most of them, showing up consistently from both directions, across multiple conversations and multiple contexts. That is what mutual attraction looks like. That is the fingerprint that it leaves. And then once you've looked at the pattern, trust what you feel in your body more than what you're trying to convince yourself of in your head. Because your nervous system already knows the nervous calm that I described, that specific mix of excitement and ease in your body has already registered that before your brain caught up. And the opposite of that is also true. That slightly effortful, slightly hollow feeling you're getting when you're generating all of the energy yourself, your body knows that too. You've just been trained to doubt it. Attraction is not a mystery. It's a biological process that leaves tracks in your body, in theirs, and in the space between you. And the best part is neither of you has to say a word before you already know it. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like and follow because that helps me to create more videos like this. And if you want to go deeper, I do offer a course specifically for men who want to become calm, confident, and naturally magnetic. I've included a link in the description below. And for the ladies, the course for developing your magnetic feminine energy launches next.